Hey, Zach.
How's it going, Justin?
Quite well. Do you remember when a new car was under $40,000?
Yeah, man, I do. It feels like a long time ago, but of course I do.
Those were the good old days. Well, you have to go all the way back to 2016 to a time when the average new car transaction was $35,000. Isn't that amazing?
I was just looking at the latest data from Kelley Blue Book, Justin, just April, last month in the United States. What do you think the average transaction price was for a non-luxury vehicle? Non-luxury.
45,000.
The average for all vehicles was around 45,000. Non-luxury was $42,300, something like that.
Maybe it's because I stare at market price numbers every day, but yeah, that's amazing. Now, believe it or not, despite all of this, a brand new electric vehicle can be had for under $40,000 in 2022. Do you believe me?
Average transaction price from KBB last month on an EV was 65,000. Like, I want to believe you, but you're gonna have to show me the light here. I don't believe you yet.
Well, they don't have the best range or the best charging speeds or even the best looks, especially not the best looks,
That's what my
but they won't
girlfriend
cost you an arm and a leg,
tells me.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
The most affordable EV on the market in 2022 is the Nissan Leaf.
Ooh, I thought it might have been the Kona. Is the Kona on the
So
list?
it is on the
Okay.
list. We'll
Okay.
get there in a minute. So first introduced over a decade ago in 2010, the Nissan Leaf does not have the looks. It looks like a grasshopper. It does not have the charging speeds. You're going to sit there for an hour. But it will be the most affordable EV on the market. So today, a brand new Leaf with 150 miles of range starts at 27,000.
Wow.
Now, amazingly, it still qualifies for the federal EV tax credit because, I mean, not that many people wanted to buy a vehicle throughout the 2010s that had a range of 150 miles. Not to mention, when it first came out, it had a range of like 80 miles. So, it was a slow seller, but it's been in it for the long run, right? And here we are over a decade later, and you can still buy a Nissan Leaf for $27,000 and get the federal EV tax credit. This can be
Wow.
an EV around $20,000 after incentives.
I'm trying to think, Justin. I mean, I don't see that many Leafs on the road. I wonder how many are transacted each month, or I wonder how many are in inventory. I guess we could run a search on the YAA website and see how many are out there. I can't imagine it's a ton, though.
So what I've heard from Leaf owners is that with the ridiculously low range that older models have, we're talking like 70 miles after degradation.
Wow.
They don't really see the point in selling them because who's going to buy it and how much are they going to pay you? So, well, the good news is there has been one update to the Leaf in the past decade, just one. In addition just to some minor look updates, like the way they've updated the fascia, it's a little bit different, not much different.
Yeah, yeah.
There is now an extended range option of the Leaf. Did you know this?
I did not.
You can go 226 miles on a charge in a 2022 Leaf with the extended range battery.
We're getting
Now,
somewhere.
yeah, and the extended range even charges twice as fast. Instead of 50 kilowatt speeds, where you'll be sitting there for an hour, you can charge at 100 kilowatt speeds, which it's not proportional, so you'll probably be sitting there for like 45 minutes, but still, that's an improvement. But if you're looking for the extended range Nissan Leaf in 2022, it's not 27. It's going to be more like $33,000.
I
But
was going to
still,
guess 31. Okay, all right.
it's not too bad considering 65,000 is the average, right?
Definitely. Okay, so Nissan Leaf is totally I'll say an attainable EV for those out there that are interested in it. Plus, tack on the incentives. Watch our incentive video. You can learn all about the incentives in your state. That makes sense.
Thinking about getting an extended warranty? Go to joinyaa.com and check out our pricing there. There's no obligation, no spam, no robocalls. YAA for your extended warranty.
What else is on the list? What else is on the cheap EVs list?
So the second cheapest EV surprised me, and that's a big deal because I'm supposed to be the EV expert, right?
Yes.
It's the Mini Cooper hardtop electric.
Oh, wow.
Now, you can't buy one just anywhere. It's mostly in California, but for just over $30,000, you can get a Mini Cooper electric with 114 miles of range. I do not advise 114 miles of range, especially when you pair it with the 50 kilowatt charging speeds. Imagine crawling along the freeway, let's say freeway range maybe 80 miles on the freeway, and then every 80 miles you have to stop for an hour.
And you're not supposed to, you've taught me this, you're not supposed to actually draw the battery all the way down to 0. So
Yeah, this would be good for around town, hopping around downtown, but not on the highway. This is not a travel vehicle. Let's see what's next, though.
Yeah.
Chevy Bolt.
Okay.
Okay, fire extinguisher and all.
Yes.
All Bolts should have received their new battery by now because of the massive recall last year. LG Chem paid General Motors a few $billion because of how bad they screwed up with their battery that they supplied. But now everything should be fixed. And every Bolt from 2017 through 2022 and into the 2023 model year should have a brand new battery. So it might be considered a good deal, depending on whether or not you are willing to give it a try after what has happened in the past year. So starting at $31,000, you can get 259 miles of range. That's pretty good, even in 2022. Charging speeds, though, are bad. Bolt lovers have lamented how GM has not invested in upgrading the Bolt's charging speeds.
Yeah.
55 kilowatt speeds. That adds about 100 miles of range in 30 minutes. I mean, if you don't travel often, that might be doable, especially at that price point.
And, one thing I'm thinking of as we've gone through these first three vehicles, the Leaf, the Mini Cooper hardtop, and now here with the Bolt, what's going through my head is I wonder if there's additional dealer markups on these, because obviously starting prices are great and everything, but we've seen because of the car shortage, additional dealer markups, fees, and things like that. Be interesting to, leave a comment, let us know if you're seeing any markups on these, because EVs are becoming super hot commodities. And then on the internal combustion engine side, just fuel efficient, cheap cars are super hot commodities. You've got to imagine the combination of the two, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. If there's an ADM on that Mini Cooper, I would be very surprised.
The tax credit doesn't even apply to the Chevy Bolt. So now that we've gone over the Bolt, the Leaf, the Mini Cooper hardtop, be thinking about the effect of the tax credit, because with the Bolt, you're buying a $31,000 vehicle. Not too bad on the price point, but with the Nissan Leaf, you could be buying what is effectively a $20,000 EV in 2022. Pretty amazing, especially if you don't travel very much.
Definitely.
All right, next up, we've got the Hyundai Kona EV. So it's the brand new Ioniq 5's little brother. Starts at $34,000, and you get a pretty impressive range and very impressive efficiency.
Yep.
So 258 miles of range, but Kona EV owners report amazing efficiency around town. I'm talking 6 to 8 miles per kilowatt hour. That's unheard of. None of these larger EVs, including Tesla, Lucid, my Ioniq 5, no heavier, larger EV can match that efficiency. So there are some benefits to the Kona EV. Charging speed, though, it's okay. I wouldn't recommend the Kona EV if you travel very often. But if you do, 100 kilowatt speeds means that you can add about 180 miles of driving range in 45 minutes.
Honestly, Kona sounded pretty interesting to me. I mean, I don't necessarily love the looks of it, but
me either.
I think it's a pretty compelling package, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of the best deals out there right now for budget-minded EV shoppers, and it does still qualify for the federal EV tax credit. So that could be a $27,000 EV once incentives are factored in, not to mention state incentives, right?
Definitely. Wow, interesting.
All right, last on the list, just barely made it to our list, is the Kia e-Niro. It starts at a bit of a higher price point despite having the same powertrain as the Hyundai Kona EV. So starting at $39,900, you get a range of 239 miles and the same 100 kilowatt charging speed. So it's not the best. To me, it definitely doesn't look all that attractive, but, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yep.
And the tax credit still does qualify. So for under $40,000, you can have an electric Kia. But keep in mind, that's becoming harder and harder to justify because this year, Kia has released the EV6, which starts just at $44,000. It's not that much more expensive than an e-Niro.
Yeah. And you start to think about the average transaction prices here, you can see how they creep up because, okay, even with the EV6, $44,000, add 10% for all the fees and taxes and everything. All right, so we're up to a $49,000, transaction price. You look back at, for example, the Leaf. That is a slam dunk if you can get past all the specs. Honestly, I go back to the Kona. Like, to me, that's a slam dunk if you can get past the looks and the charge times. But there you go. There's 5 that are attainable. I think only a few on there are actually attainable for most people. But, sub 40,000, that's the new barometer. That's the new benchmark. Kind of crazy to think.
If you only charge on superchargers, DC fast chargers, a few times a year because you don't travel very often, I'd highly recommend checking out these cheap EVs. If you do travel a lot, you might as well save your money and get something that's capable of better fast charging. Otherwise, you might regret it.
Wise words from Justin Fisher. Thanks for running us through this, Justin. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach.